All right. Hello. Welcome back to another strength training session with Para Rowing Foundation. I am joined again today by Jen Fitz-Roy. She's just made her way back onto the water, so hopefully all of you guys have some water rowing in sight. We are going to do some shoulder blade focused work today, and you will need a band, a weight, and either a foam roller or a pillow, okay? So let's get started. We're gonna do our protractions and retractions to get going, but today we're gonna add in some rotation to make it a little bit more three-dimensional. So go ahead and put those hands out in front of you with your palms facing each other, all right? Now, we're going to do our regular retraction and protraction. So go ahead and retract, pull the shoulder blades towards one another. Think about them inching their way towards the middle of the spine, all right? And then as we protract, we're gonna push the shoulder blades towards our armpit, but we're also gonna rotate our palms so they're facing away from us, okay? And then as we come back, we're gonna switch that. So now bring the shoulder blades together and the palms face each other. Now push the fingertips away as the palms rotate away from one another. And then reverse the movement, right? So now, instead of just having that kind of one-dimensional sliding, right? The shoulder blades are still doing the same thing. So the shoulder blades are still sliding forward and backward, right? On that horizontal plane, okay? But our hands and elbows and shoulder joints are now adding the rotation, okay? So I want you to think about the rotation coming from the shoulder joint, and then it's sending that impulse down to the elbows and wrists, okay? So as you rotate out, it's the shoulder joint that's pulling your armpit open, all right? And then as you come back in, the shoulder joint pulls it closed so that you could put a dollar bill in that armpit and you would not lose it, all right? Make it a $100 bill. Put a little emphasis behind it. Let's do two more. Start the rotation and then squeeze the shoulder blades. Send it away with the serratus. Last time in. And take a quick break. All right, for this next one, we're gonna do our elevations and depressions. Same idea, okay? You won't be able to see my hands, so bear with me. All right, come on up. Hands go up overhead, all right? And right away, I want you guys to think about keeping those ribs down a little bit so that we have the core engaged. Palms are facing one another. You should be able to give yourself a high five, okay? Now, we are going to elevate, all right? Palms stay facing one another. So shrug those shoulders. And then as you depress, bring the shoulder blades down and rotate the palms away from each other. So it's the same motion we just did. So now elevate, palms rotate towards one another, depress, and bring the shoulders down as the palms rotate away. Same idea. I want you guys to think about the rotation happening from the shoulder joint, depress and rotate away. This one should be really tough. All right, if you guys watched a couple weeks ago, I did axial rotation with Kingsley in this same position. So this is the same movement, but we're just doing it with both arms at the same time, and we're adding in that elevation and depression. All right, let's do two more sets. All right, so elevate and palms rotate. You should be able to high five. Depress and bring those shoulder blades down as you rotate out. Last time, shrug, and then use those big lat muscles to pull the shoulder blades down and bring the arms down. All right, shoulders should be nice and warm now. Grab your band, all right, and we're gonna do a little clock pull apart, okay? So go ahead and take your hands out to about shoulder width apart. All right, your left hand is gonna anchor in space, so it's not gonna move at all right? With our right hand, we're gonna pull out to about 11, or I guess 1 o'clock, and then bring it back to the center. Now pull out to the side towards 3, and then back to center. Now pull down towards 5, and then back to center. Let's do it 3 more times. So it's top of the clock, center, 3, center, and then 4 or 5 o'clock. Whatever time means that you get a margarita. All right, last few times here. All right, think about keeping the deltoid engaged. So that's the top of the shoulder, right? Anytime we're bringing the shoulder away from the body or the arm away from the midline, That deltoid is going to fire, all right? As we pull away, especially in that 3 o'clock position, think about those back muscles wrapping down and around the spine to bring you into position there. All right, last time with the right arm. Keep that arm nice and strong and straight, especially in that 3 o'clock position. Don't let that wrist break. So you're thinking punching knuckles, head, wherever the band goes. All right, well, we have 2 sides, so let's do it on the opposite side. Yeah, shake it out. Okay, left side. So set up, but anchor your right hand this time. And now we're gonna go left hand towards 11, back to center. Then we're gonna go out to 9 o'clock. That's bedtime for me, in case anyone was wondering. And then we're gonna go down towards 7, all right? Let's do it 3 more times through, all right? Same idea. We're thinking top of the shoulders firing, okay? But we're also putting together all of those different movements that we did with our elevation, depression, protraction, retraction. So make sure that we're keeping that shoulder blade more or less away from the ear. So we really want to avoid the elevation here. And we're keeping the shoulder socket from rotating forward. Last time through. These should be fatiguing you out now. If they're not, bring those hands closer together and rest. Nice job. Okay, that was the warm-up. So I guess we are gonna move into the meat of the workout now. All right, you are gonna use your band later, and it's gonna need to be anchored at a low point. So now's a good time to find your spot towards the ground. A couch leg or a table leg would be perfect. And you can go ahead and set that up. We're gonna come back to that a little later in the workout. All right, but for now, what you're gonna need is your weight, okay? Come on down to your backs, all right? Again, if you have a foam roller, sticking that underneath your knees is a great option, just to make sure we're taking a little bit of stress off of those joints. And we're gonna start with a chest press, okay? Now, if you have a hand weight, feel free to just do this normally. If you happen to have a kettlebell, I'm gonna demo this in a bottoms up position, which is a great way to practice some of that shoulder stabilization work while keeping a strong wrist, all right? So set yourself up so that your elbow is about a 45-degree angle, all right? So 90 would mean it was straight out from your shoulder. Bring it down to about halfway between there and your rib cage, all right? And we're just gonna do 8 presses to get warmed up. So punch it towards the sky and then bring it back down. Exhale as you press, and then inhale to return to the ground. Think about finding a start and finish point, all right? So every single time you're punching to the same spot on the ceiling, and every time you come back down, the elbow is resting down in that same spot. All right, I think we have 3 more. Exhale, press. Thinking about at the top, extend the back of the elbow with that tricep, the back of that upper arm. All right, last one. Press it up and bring it down. All right, take a quick break if you need. Now for this next one, we're gonna come into our ending position for that chest press. And from here, we're gonna do scapular punches, okay? So all that is it is a protraction as you punch your weight towards the ceiling, and then a retraction as you bring your shoulder blade flat onto the ground, okay? So ready, punch away, and then draw back down, all right? This is a really nice scapular stabilizer drill, okay? So if anyone's ever told you you have winging scapula or something to that effect, this is one of those drills that is gonna always be a key in PT to getting you back into that stable position, all right? So I want you to think about feeling your serratus here, okay? To help you slide the shoulder blade away. And then really try to feel that the shoulder blade comes flat against the mat as you bring it back down. We've just got 3 more here. And then if you're doing this bottoms up with the kettlebell, there's a lot of stabilizers working. That whole upper arm should be firing. Last one. Bring it back down and take your weight to the other side. All right, same deal. We're gonna start with our chest press. So find your starting position. Elbow is 45 degrees away from your body, all right? And when you're ready, press up to the sky and then bring it back down. If you're doing this bottoms up and you're on your left hand like me, it might be a little harder because I am not left-handed. Name that movie. It's The Princess Bride. All right. Think about your prime movers here. So as we're pressing up, we're engaging through the pec. So feel it in the chest and the back of the arm for the elbow extension. I think we have 2 more. Exhale, press. Draw back in. Try to keep that opposite shoulder stable and grounded to the side, and bring it back down and take a quick break. All right, let's get ready for our scapular punches on the opposite side. So punch it up, find the balance, and then when you're ready, slide the shoulder blade away from the body and then draw it back flat to the mat. And then as you're bringing it back down, think about that slight depression to also draw the shoulder away from the ear. We've got lots of work here, lots of muscles working in tandem to keep this movement fluid. Oh, I forgot to depress on that one. So think flat and down. And then it's like you want to make your arm longer so that if you really were punching someone, you could stay further away from them and then run to safety. Let's do 2 more. 1. And last time. Bring that weight down and set it off to the side. Now for this next one, we're gonna do chest lifts, which you guys are all familiar with hopefully by now. Now, if you have lighter hand weights, I don't have mine with me today, you can certainly do this with your hand weights, but I'm just gonna demo it without today. So go ahead and take those hands up towards the ceiling, all right? And on an exhale, press your hands down as you peel your head, neck, and chest off, all right? And I want you to think about getting length through the shoulders as you reach down for your toes, shortening the space in those upper abs to bring as much of that upper body up off the mat. And then go ahead and exhale, slowly release everything down. So it's inhale, prepare. Exhale, nod the chin, draw those hands down, length. And every exhale, we're gonna hold here for a couple of breaths. Every exhale, think about knitting those ab fibers in a little deeper. Think about reaching and pulling from the armpit to help you keep that nice canister of power around the center. And then go ahead and slowly peel yourself back down. We're gonna do about 4 more of these. So it's exhale, press the hands down. And this is a, I like to call this a chest lift rather than a curl, because you're thinking about lifting towards the ceiling, right? We're not thinking about curling the upper body towards ourselves. Our breath is pulling us away from the mat in almost a straight line, right? So we're more of a banana and less of a fruit roll-up. And go ahead and return down. Now remember, if this ever bothers your neck, you can always place those hands behind the head and repeat the same way, but you have a little basket there. Another way to release some pressure from the neck is just make sure that you're looking up at about a 45-degree angle. So you're thinking towards the opposite corner of the ceiling so that we're not, again, yanking on that neck. And release down towards the mat. Last one. Exhale, press the hands, nod the chin, reach. Again, think about the core muscles are not just the abs in front. They're spanning all the way from around in front, behind the armpits to the back. And that reach and that extension in the arms is going to help you engage through that full cylinder. and slowly peel back down. All right, we're gonna add a little challenge, okay? So hands come up, same idea. We're gonna exhale, press everything up, all right? But this time, we're gonna make it a little harder. So start by bringing your hands back up towards the sky. That should already feel like more of a challenge. Now, take one hand behind you, bicep towards the ear. Draw it back to center. Opposite hand. And exhale, draw it back to center. So inhale, bring it back. Exhale, as the hand comes up, think about drawing in a little deeper. Let's do 3 more on each side. Yeah, these ones are killer. I'm shaking. That means my muscles are working, I swear. Check in, make sure that you could fit a grapefruit underneath that chin. And everyone do me a favor and draw down into a slight depression with those shoulder blades. Last time on each side. Thinking about narrowing that waist a little bit more. And go ahead and release down to the ground. Woo, nice job. Okay, we have one more variation. This one's gonna be even harder, all right? Now, if that one was kind of your level, go ahead and just repeat the single arm at the same time. If you're feeling any tension in the neck, feel free to put those hands behind the head and just do a lift and hold, okay? If anyone wants a challenge, go ahead and come up with me here. So exhale, draw the hands down, come into your chest lift, all right? Once you feel that stability, hands raise back up to the ceiling. And this time, we're gonna bring both hands back and then draw them back up towards the ceiling. All right, now my favorite way that this was described to me is that as you bring your hands back, you wanna make your body like a Rice Krispie, okay? So think about that little hollowed out Rice Krispie, or maybe a banana if you're not a Rice Krispie person, all right? But as you bring the hands back, you're creating that scoop in the upper body. Let's do 2 more. Release tension from the neck. You can always look over one shoulder and then the other to give yourself a little tension release. Last time. And release down to the mat. All right, let's have everyone just look over to the right. Feeling nice and long through that left side. You can even reach the left fingers way down towards your toes to give yourself a little stretch there. And then look to the right. Same thing. Right fingers can reach down towards your right toes to create a little more length in that stretch. And then draw it back to center. All right, now we are going to do a little bit of sideline work, okay? So with your foam roller, you can pick where you want this to be, okay? So it can be up a little higher, all right? If you feel like we're gonna do a little side planking work, all right? If you feel like the support isn't as great down here, all right? It can be a little bit lower, all right? If you know that you have a little more control, or if you're good and you can keep that side waist pulling up, then go ahead and go foam rollerless, okay? So pick out whichever variation feels good for you, all right? And we're gonna do a side plank, okay? So start by driving that elbow into the ground, okay? And then reach your opposite hand up into the air and really think about lifting out of that side body, all right? So we want space in those upper ribs here, right? So we're not sinking down towards the ground. Push and pull so that you're creating length through that chest. Drop that left shoulder away from the ear and make sure that that chin is in line with your spine. So we're not jutting or dropping or anything crazy like that, okay? And I want you guys to really think about creating like a little hole for a chipmunk to come in over here, okay? And we're gonna hold for another 5 seconds, okay? Pull in that those bottom ribs. So we're knitting those front ribs together, and take a quick break. All right, now we've been on a theme. We've been doing lots of protraction and retraction, and it is not stopping here. So when you're ready, go ahead and push up into your side plank, okay? And you should automatically feel very strong in that bottom arm, okay? Now we're going to retract, right? It almost feels like you're sinking down towards the mat, all right? And then on an exhale, you're going to protract and push that shoulder away, all right? So it's that little sink and then push away. So this should feel like a lot of shoulder stabilizers, right? But it also shouldn't feel like you're burning out immediately, okay? Now this top arm you can always bring down, okay, if anything is feeling uncomfortable. Again, if you feel any tension in your neck, you can always look over an opposite shoulder or side to side, up and down, just to make sure that we're not getting stuck in any one position, all right? Let's do 3 more after this one, okay? So I always kind of feel like this is where you're like reading a book on the beach, okay? And this is where you're ready and you're side planking. So it's almost going from a lazy position to a supported position. And we're gonna do 1 more here. Nice job. All right, now, next challenge, let's see if we can just stay in the supported position. We're gonna add just a little side bend. So bring that top arm up towards the sky, all right? And then bring it up and see if you can really get a little bit of length in these upper ribs. So this is like a little mermaid position, right? Channel your inner beach mermaid. And then come down and see if you can curl these top obliques towards one another. Really reach those fingers towards those toes. And then we're gonna reach over, extend, breathe into those top ribs so that we're expanding. And then reach down and close that space. Work that side body on the top to reach down. But don't forget to stay supported in that right shoulder. Let's make sure we're not reading on the beach. Let's do 1 more. Reach over, stay supported, stay lifted, and then reach down and relax. Okay, keep your foam roller, but you're gonna wanna put it down towards your hips a little bit because we are going to plank, okay? So first one, we're just gonna hold, okay? You guys know the drill. Elbows are gonna be set up right underneath the shoulders, all right? Forearms like train tracks in front of you. And all I want you guys to do is really think about creating your base here. So press into your fingertips, press into your forearms, press into your elbows. Really think about the shoulder blades sliding down your back, okay? Now pull in through those front abs and squeeze from the back to create those opposing forces so that we're not getting dropped down by gravity. And every exhale, I want you to think about actively pulling your elbows back, all right? So that we're forcing that space between our elbows and our hips to be smaller and smaller, even though we're not actually moving, all right? So we're pulling from that armpit position to think about driving the space between our elbows and our foam roller so that it will be smaller and smaller. All right, on your next exhale, see if you can pull those top abs away from your t-shirt a little bit more. All right, on your next exhale, see if you can drive your hands down into the mat a little bit harder. And once you have that maximal tension, let's hold for 3 more breaths. Every exhale, we're knitting those abs in tighter and tighter, right? Think about the core muscles spanning the entire torso, and release. All right, take a quick break. All right, so that was our plank, okay? So that's maximal tension, all right? Come up into maybe a little bit less tense plank. And we're gonna do a little cervical retraction and protraction, okay? So all that is your cervical spine, that's your neck up here, okay? Is I want you guys to think about pulling your chin back to make a double chin, and then let it relax down like you're going for a drink of water like a dog, all right? So it's pull in, make a double chin, and then release, let the chin fall down, all right? The important thing here is I want you to think about your chin being on an elevator, right? So it goes straight down and straight up, right? There's no lift forward in that chin. And especially as you retract, so as you pull that chin back, I want you to think about getting maximal length from the top of the spine up to the top of the skull, okay? So it's release and then retract. Feel that length like you're creating a bridge from the top of the spine to the bottom of the skull. Let's do one more. And release. All right, keep that good positioning. Make sure those elbows are still right underneath the shoulders. And we're gonna hit our protraction and retraction in our plank, okay? So it's the same idea as the side plank, right? It's release, we're reading at the beach, and then exhale, pull the shoulders down and into the armpits as you come into that strong position. Squeeze the shoulders down and then press them away, right? Now all this shoulder blade work, continue with your sets here. All this shoulder blade work is just to show you that bringing the shoulder blade, like squeezing your shoulder blades back. Who has ever heard their coach say that? Squeeze your shoulder blades together, right? That is not necessarily a good, strong, supported position, right? Because in this plank position, technically in this book reading is where our shoulder blades are squeezing together, right? So I like to think about it more as you're squeezing your shoulder blades into your armpits, okay? Because then your shoulder blades are in a position where they are being pulled tightly by those back muscles so that they can stay stable while we move the joint around it, okay? Let's do one more. And come on down. All right, take a quick break. I don't know if anyone else's shoulders are dying right now, but mine sure are toasty. Okay, we're gonna do one more plank variation before we head to the other side, okay? So when you're ready, bring those elbows back underneath the shoulders, okay? Think about drawing the armpits into, shoulder blades into the armpits, okay? Now option one here, all right, if you would like to stick with what we've done in a previous week, is you're just gonna go slight rock. So you just rock from your elbows onto your hands, okay? So it's a little seesaw action, all right? If you feel like you're ready for more of a challenge, we're gonna do a hand tap, okay? So on an exhale, again, think about pulling your elbows down towards your hips, pull the abs in, drive the elbows into the mat, and then when you're nice and strong and stable, reach one hand out, tap in front of you, and then bring it back in. Now this tap doesn't have to be big, okay? Work within what you feel comfortable with, okay? And because this is a unilateral movement, okay, you should feel your obliques on the side that is tapping away. So as I tap my left hand away, right, I'm thinking about pulling through this left side to keep my chest square to the ground. Let's do 3 more on each side. Make sure you're actively using your breath. And let's check in on that shoulder girdle as you're tapping away, all right? Make sure you're keeping that elbow strong into the mat so that we're not coming into that resting position, okay? Thinking about shoulder blades into the armpits, okay? Shoulder socket is strong and stable, like it's no longer a ball and socket. It's glued right in there. I think this is our last one. We might have done a bonus one. And Bring it back to center and rest. All right, so we're gonna come back around and we're gonna do our side plank series on the opposite side, okay? So find yourself on your opposite side. Take that foam roller to wherever you feel comfortable. Again, if you feel like you don't need it, you can always do this sans foam roller. And when you're ready, make sure that elbow is planted right underneath the shoulder. All right, and we're gonna start with our side plank hold. So again, I like to put my right hand up towards the sky or at the top hand, but you can also have it resting on that opposite hip or even in front of you if you need a little bit more support, okay? So we're gonna hold first. So make sure that elbow is planted firmly into the ground. All right, now think about lifting through that top rib. Now think about pulling that right hand away from you to create length across the chest. And we're strong in that shoulder girdle. And our chin is in front of where our collarbones meet, right? But we're also not holding any extra tension in our necks. So while we're sitting in our strong plank, everyone give me just a little shake of the head. Let's make sure we're not holding anything extra. Let's hold for 2 more breaths. Think about bringing that left elbow towards your foam roller. Create that tension and release down. Whew. All right, we're coming up. We've got our scapular protractions and retractions next. So when you're ready, exhale up, strong position to start. All right, make sure those shoulders are stacked. There's a big tendency here to kind of lean back or lean forward. So think about drawing a nice straight line from elbow to elbow. And when you're ready, we're gonna draw down into our kind of schlumpy position and then exhale, press that shoulder away. So I kind of think about it as the shoulder socket coming closer to your ear, and then you're pressing away and creating that space from the ear and the neck and the shoulder. And again, these are small muscles working in this movement, so it shouldn't necessarily feel killer to start off with, right? But after a few, you should be starting to feel some of that work in the back of the shoulder capsule. Check in again on that neck. You can give a nod up and down this time. Yes, we love protraction and retraction. And let's do 3 more. Exhale, press away. And even though now we're taking the focus of the exercise to the shoulder, let's make sure that we haven't lost sight of that bottom oblique. So every time we're pressing away, we're also thinking about creating that space between the mat and the bottom side waist. Last time, hold it up here, and now we gotta do our little mermaids. So we're gonna exhale over, and you can look down if you want to. Think about breathing into that armpit area, and then we're gonna bring it down and really think about squeezing these top ab muscles to reach further away from your shoulder. And then bring it up and get nice and long. And squeeze and reach for that opposite foot. And last time. Exhale. This is a stretch part, so try to enjoy that while still staying strong in this left shoulder. Last time over, reach, close up the space, thinking, cinching the waist from top rib to bottom rib, and release down. All right, that was all of our planking. I swear, we're done with it. So take the foam roller, chuck it at whoever, all right? And we're gonna get set up with our band, okay? I'm just gonna flip my mat here. So this work we're gonna do is going to be prone, so on our stomachs, okay? So you'll get a feel for where you want your mat to be. But remember, with the band, okay, the easiest way to make it harder is to choke up on the band, all right? So if you're in a position and you're thinking, wow, I really wish that I had moved my mat, remember, you can always just move your hand further towards the anchor point to make it more challenging, okay? So come on down, okay? And remember, if this is too challenging with a band, you can always do this without as well, okay? Come down so that your forehead is resting on the mat, okay? Hands are gonna come out in front of you in a Y position, okay? So you can start by just finding your Y position, and your hands can be anchored, all right? And then when you're ready, I want you to think about that slide of the shoulders into the armpits, all right? And we're gonna lift the hands up off the ground. That should already feel like a lot of work. Now, to make it harder, we're gonna draw the hands down so that you're in a uppercase T position, okay? So you are in that cross position. Now bring the hands back to a Y and then draw to a T, okay? And that's all we're doing. We're just going from Y to T, okay? I want you guys to think about the shoulder blades kind of moving around the rib cage. So as we come to a T, the shoulder blades swivel to come a little bit closer to the middle of the spine. And as we come into our Y, the shoulders swivel towards the armpits, okay? Try to keep the hands the same number of inches off the ground the whole time. Whew. And especially as we draw to that T, everyone give me that depression, okay? So think about drawing the shoulders, anti-shrug. Last one, and rest. All right, if that didn't fire you up, I don't know what will. All right, so for our next one, okay, we're gonna actually start in our T position, and then we're gonna go to a lowercase t, okay? So all it'll be is that we're gonna start from that T position that we established, and then we're gonna bend at the elbow to bring the elbow into the body, all right? That's the lowercase t, and then we'll come back out to that uppercase t, okay? So when you're ready, set yourselves up, okay? Same idea. First start by just finding your T, okay? And again, this one is gonna be a little bit more challenging, so you might wanna release the tension in the band just a little bit, okay? So hands are gonna come out to your T. Start by rotating the shoulders back, and then slide the shoulder blades towards the armpits, okay? Now lift the hands off the ground, and when you're ready, draw the elbows towards the ribs, and then punch back out to your T. Draw the elbows towards your ribs, and then punch back out towards the T. So this is like a side row almost, okay? So I really want you to think about squeezing the muscles all the way down the side body into the back, okay? Your middle traps, okay? Those should be fired up to keep the shoulder blades stable as we transition from the uppercase to the lowercase, and then in the reverse. Let's do 3 more. Again, try to keep the elbows and wrists on the same level. It's hard, especially in that lowercase t. All right, we're into our last one. These are burning. Let's get this last one done. And release. Woo! All right, who knew lifting 1 inch could be so hard? Okay, but we do have one more here, so bear with me. Everyone should have nice yoga mat tattoos on their foreheads by now. All right, come on down. Set the head. All right, we're gonna set up in our T position, okay? So bring the hands out to the side, okay? Set the shoulder blades. So again, think about rotating the head of the humerus back, and then slide the shoulder blades into the armpits. Now lift the hands up, all right? And we're gonna make circles, okay? So I want you to think about being like a very small bird, okay? So we're rotating from the head of the shoulder, making our circles. It's like a tennis ball. It's really small, okay? But not only are we working our rotation, I want you guys to think about as much length across the back through the hands as you can get. So think about giving someone a fist bump on the side opposite of you. And go ahead and reverse directions. And since it's small, the tendency is going to want to be to let the band just kind of snap you in as you come around the surface. So try to keep the size and the speed of your circle nice and consistent. Let's do 3 more. And release. All right, guys, that was the work for today. Let's take a quick stretch. All right, so let's start with just our neck. So start by placing the hands underneath the forehead. All right, and we're just going to start with a cervical rotation. So when you're ready, look over towards your left side. Okay, and then center, and then look towards your right side and center. You're just going to do this about 5 more times, right? It seems like a really basic thing, but moving the neck without moving the shoulders or without moving the torso actually doesn't happen that often in a big range of motion. So it's nice to take the time and really isolate here and think about releasing some of that tension that we build up during our workouts, but also as we, spend a lot of time texting or on our computers. Last time to that side. And go ahead and plant your head, all right? Now take your left hand and put it right underneath your armpit, okay? Take your right hand and reach it out into your T position. Palm is facing down, okay? You're gonna roll your body, so push into your left hand to roll your body towards your right, and I want you to reach those right fingers as far away from you as you can to get a stretch through the front of the chest. It should feel nice. Again, working some length into those muscles that tend to get shortened up so much through just, the activities that we do day to day. Let's roll to the center to release a little bit and do 1 more to that side. Really reach those right fingers away, away, away. And back to center. Let's switch sides. So right hand goes right underneath the armpit. Left hand reaches out, palm facing down. And then even before you start to roll, you can think about reaching those left fingers away from the body, then press into that right hand to roll towards your left side and get that nice stretch across that left chest. And even though we're stretching, let's make sure that right shoulder isn't doing anything wonky, right? So we don't want it crunched in. We still want to think about pressing into the mat and keeping a nice strong shoulder capsule. Let's release and do 1 more towards the left. Nice job. Go ahead and roll onto your backs. Okay, and all we're gonna do is let's take that right arm up and over, bicep next to the ear. You can take your left hand and put it on those front ribs just to make sure they're not popping to compensate. So think about nice flat shoulder blades against the mat here. And then reach back down. Let's do another one. Reach the right hand over. Try to keep some depression in that right shoulder. Just working a little bit of mobility and range of motion in that shoulder joint. And let's do one more on the left. So right hand can go right on top of those ribs. Reach the left hand up and over. Keep those front abs engaged. Slight depression in that left shoulder. And one more time. Working nice, strong shoulder mobility. And there we go. All right. You guys are done with another week of training. Thank you so much for joining. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the box below. Jen, thanks for joining us again, and we will see you guys soon.